How you doing? Scott here with FantasyAces.com. Back after our long vacation. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Just want to get back into the Week 14 matchups. We are approaching playoffs, or are in the playoffs for some fantasy leagues. So now's the important time. It's you got to win or you're out. Let's take a look at the matchups for Week 14. We have the Raiders against the Chargers. Chargers, boy, what the hell happened to them? Chargers, Tomlinson just isn't doing the trick. You got Rivers over there. Even Vincent Jackson was a no-show last week, it seemed like. Gates isn't doing it, but they are playing the Raiders, so this is a good game to bounce back. Hopefully they're able to do something. With the Raiders, you got Fargas and McFadden in the backfield. They're splitting time. Fargas seems to be the main guy, so he's the guy to go with. He even got the first touchdown of the year for himself last week. So he may be the guy to start against the Chargers. We'll see what McFadden's able to do. Next, 1 o'clock games, we have the Jaguars and the Bears. Jaguars, again, very, very ugly team. They just got pounded by the Texans this week. Can't seem to find a running game. They're playing the Bears, so in Chicago, so that could be an ugly game for them as well. They've already given up on the season anyway. So let's go on the Bears side, see what we have there. Matt Forte is an absolute stud. You just ride him all the way through the playoffs. This is a guy who's catching the ball, running the ball. He's all over the place. Kyle Orton's, he's at the point where he's managing the game because Forte just does everything. Let's take a look at the Texans and the Packers. Another interesting game. Shaw should be back this week. Andre Johnson, stud at wideout. And Steve Slayton. Boy, oh boy, is this rookie something else. Running all over the place in the Jaguars, and he should do the same against the Packers this week. Big, big numbers for him once again. You've got Owen Daniels out there, Kevin Walter. On the other side with the Packers, you've got Aaron Rodgers. He should put up some great numbers. Jennings and Driver out there should do fine. Even Donald Lee should see some action at tight end. Ryan Grant out of the backfield just doesn't seem like himself this year, having trouble holding on to the ball, so we'll see what happens there, but he should have some success against the Texans as well. The Bengals and the Colts are going to rip the Bengals apart this week at home. They had a tough game against Cleveland last week. They didn't even score an offensive touchdown. What an ugly game in Cleveland. The Colts should rebound big time, play all their offensive players. They should explode. Bengals, just an ugly team. Fitzpatrick, not serviceable really. Hushmanzada is the only real player on this team. Maybe you can make a stretch and say Cedric Benson, could do some things against a weaker running defense in the Colts. Probably without Bob Sanders. So we'll see. Next game, we got the Browns and the Titans. The Browns are finished. They've lost their two main quarterbacks, and Quinn and Anderson now. They're down to, who's that? I mean, we're talking about guys that just aren't going to do anything good for this team. So their running back, Jamal Lewis, he's running like he's in mud. Looking at the other side, we've got the Titans. They should run all over them. Chris Johnson, Lendell White, no problems. Should be all over the place. Redskins against the Ravens. This could be a defensive battle. You got Clinton Portis. McGahee seems to be the starter, but just doesn't get any action. You've got McLean back there. Ray Rice running the ball. Flacco's been outstanding as a rookie, hitting Clayton. Mason's out there. Even Todd Heap scored last week. For the Redskins again, you've got Campbell. Serviceable. Moss. But other than that, Portis is the real stud there, and along with Chris Cooley. Looking at the next matchup, we have the Vikings and the Lions. The Lions a wreck, but however, this is the one week I think the Lions have a shot to actually get their only win of the season. Otherwise, I think they're going to get squashed the rest of the way. Calvin Johnson's really the only play there. The Vikings, you got to see what happens. Adrian Peterson should run all over the place on the Lions. Farad managing the game, has some big games here and there, and Berrien seems to be the guy he looks to most often. Looking at the Eagles and the Giants, huge game, absolutely huge game. See what McNabb's able to do after his big bounce back week. Westy's banged up, but again, he had a huge game as well, so he just always seems to perform on game day. Deshaun Jackson, guys like that should do okay for the Eagles, but this could be a tough game against that tough Giant defense. Hopefully no one shoots himself in the leg this week for the Giants. The Giants, again, they're at home, so Manning had a pretty big week last week. Jacobs and Ward and Bradshaw in the backfield. Seems like their wide receivers just keep plugging along with Hickson and Toomer. Kevin Boss has seemed to come to life the last couple of weeks. Let's look at the last 1 o'clock game, the Falcons against the Saints. Another big game. Falcons have to try and keep in the playoff standings. Michael Turner, great player. Matt Ryan's had a great rookie year, hitting Roddy White. For the Saints, you're looking at Drew Brees. I mean, they're playing at home, so Reggie Bush, maybe he's going to get back into the action and back into the act here. Pierre Thomas gets a bunch of carries. Colston was even lively last week with over 100 yards. Lance Moore should bounce back after his poor 15-yard effort. He did have a touchdown. Shockey's been more active, so there's a lot of offensive players in that team. that are useful in fantasy land. Let's look at the 4 o'clock games. We have the Dolphins and the Bills. They're playing up in Toronto. You're looking at Ricky Williams. He's a little banged up. Maybe Ronnie Brown has to take more of the load this week. Pennington is serviceable, does what he has to do to manage the game. Well, we've got the Bills. Marshawn Lynch is really all you need to know because Trent Edwards got hurt and J.P. Lawson's coming in for him. And he doesn't mean usually good things for this team. You have the Chiefs and the Broncos. Larry Johnson should be big in this game. Broncos' rush defense is pretty bad. Thigpen does a nice job finding Gonzalez and Bo on the outside. If you have the Broncos, Peyton Hillis seems to be doing a great job, and he's going to run all over the place on the Chiefs. Cutler should have some success throwing the ball, but he may not need to win this game, being at home and against the Chiefs. You've got Brandon Marshall out there. You also have Scheffler who's back in the act, and and the rookie Royal. So everyone should be playable there. You have the Jets against the Niners. Jets took a hard loss against the Broncos this week and should find some success against the 49ers, even though they're going across country. Thomas Jones is a stud. He should have a great game. Brett Favre could bounce back and have a much better game. Coles and Cotchery are playable, and even Dustin Keller, the rookie tight end, had a great year. 49ers, Gore, he seems to be the play there, and really the only guy other than maybe Bruce that you could throw in. Let's look at the Cowboys and Steelers. This is an absolutely huge game for the Cowboys and the Steelers. Cowboys need a win to keep their playoff hopes alive. It's going to be tough to see. Barber has the issue with his toe. I don't know how effective he'll be. Owens again. It's going to be a rough game for the Cowboys, but you got to stick with them. Romo and all. So, and Witten seems to be back in shape. The Steelers, Willie Parker's mixing with Mewelde Moore. We'll see how effective their backfield is. Should have some success. Their passing game should be the key there for them with Ward and Holmes and Ben Roethlisberger and Heath Miller. So they should have some success. The last 4 o'clock game is the Rams against the Cardinals. Rams are ugly, but they do have Steven Jackson back, who should play again this week. Don't know how much success they'll have. The Cardinals are a solid team. Cardinals, of course, should play everybody. They're just going to murder the Rams, being at home and after losing to the Eagles. Kurt Warner, Fitzgerald, Bolden, even Hightower should have a really solid game against the Rams this week. Let's look at Sunday Night Football. We have the Patriots and the Seahawks. Seahawks are done. There's really no one there of any use. Hasselback, that crew's messed up. Let's take a look at the Patriots. Everybody's playable here. Castle, Randy Moss. Hopefully Welker's able to play after taking that cheap shot from Ryan Clark this past week. Big shot. I don't think he'd be able to play the rest of the season. Sammy Morris may get back in the act as we get to the colder weather. We'll see. And Kevin Falk just seems to be the guy who can do everything. Our Monday night game, the Bucks against the Panthers, might be one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game of the week. Bucks, huge. Cadillac Williams is back, running it with work done in the backfield. Garcia does enough, finding Antonio Bryant. Across the side, we've got Steve Smith. We've got the backfield of D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. Should be a great game. So enjoy them, and hopefully you have some success playing this week and in the playoffs. Take it easy.